See, some of my proudest moments have always been about relationships and personal growth.
Mhm,
Not so much about getting master teacher or,
mhm,
you know, having that increase in salary. It's always been, how did I change as a person?
mhm.
And, when I started to trust others, when I started to, allow others to come into my circle, that's when I think some of the biggest growth happened.
Welcome to another episode of My Dash Story. My name is Bobby, your host, and today our guest is Navi, Navitata.
No.
How would pronounce again?
Nivadita.
Nivadita. Okay, I hope I'm not even close to pronounce that right, but I'll get there. Nivadita is a wife and a stepmom, graduated from Trinity University, then received her master's degree in education from SMU, has been teaching for 6 years, and has a TIA, Master's Teacher's Designation. What's TIA?
It is the teacher incentive allotment, and
Oh,
it was established, I think, about 4 years ago,
oh, okay.
by the Texas legislature to reward and retain Texas teachers.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Hmm.
Okay, good
And
for Texas.
yes, and what it does is that every year, what school districts will do is that they will capture your data, and if your students show a certain percentage of growth, then you get a designation. They get nominated for a designation, and then then they kind of validate all your data with Texas Tech University.
Okay.
And once all that's finalized, you usually get a designation in May.
Oh, okay.
Um, and with that designation usually comes like a stipend in addition to your salary. Like every district has its own way of doing the teacher incentive allotment.
Right.
And then every district has to apply to kind of be a part of that
Uh,
system.
okay.
And so there's usually like three designations. There's recognized teacher, exemplary teacher, and master teacher. And I was given the master teacher designation.
Ooh. Is that like a black belt or something like that? Kind of like.
You could say that it's
Oh,
a
that's
black
kind of
belt.
cool. That's kind of nice. Okay, cool. So you're a black belt.
Mhm.
I like that. Okay, so how did we get the name? Your first name? How is it? Where did that come? I mean, Bobby's easy, but
Well, I asked my parents this, and, my dad said that he had a friend in college that had the name, and so he liked it, and so he decided to give it to me.
okay, that's a good way of going. Okay,
Right.
all right, cool. I like that. All right. Okay. Where were you born at then?
Mumbai
Mumbai.
in India.
Oh,
Mhm.
I thought that was in Nebraska. I was way off there a little bit. No, it's in Mumbai, India. Okay. So you were born in India. Okay. And that's where you grew up
For eight
for
years.
8 years. And
And
then
then my
you,
family and I, we all immigrated to the United States when I was 8.
all right. So tell me about Mumbai for your first 8 years. Tell me all about that because I have never been, but I've heard so many different stories.
Right. And, things have changed a lot since then.
Hmm.
It's still a big city,
Hmm.
still very crowded,
Right.
very polluted.
Yeah.
And, trains, getting on the trains is another nightmare of its own because it's always crowded, but it's a fun place to shop.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So,
We have our priorities. That's good.
yes.
Okay. When you say trains, do you mean like what I would
Public
think of? Okay,
transportation
so I
trains.
call it like a subway or something like that, but
I mean,
that's what they
they're
call it here.
trains.
Right. They
I
are
wouldn't
trains.
necessarily call them
Right.
subways.
Because we have trains here, like Dallas Transit Authority or something like that. I
Hmm.
forgot what they call it, but okay.
Yeah.
So the crowd to get onto.
Right.
Mumbai is very crowded.
As a city,
As a city. Now, is it? It's not the biggest city in
it,
India,
it
but
is
it's in
it
the
is
top
the
three.
I would say it's the economic hub,
Oh,
but it's not. I mean, I'm not sure if I'd call it the biggest city,
right,
but it's very populous.
right. Okay. So tell me about growing up there.
Well,
What's it like?
where did
And what's it? And not only what's it like, but how is it different than here?
I mean, for one, going from a very crowded city, of always having to rush to go everywhere, of always knowing that you're going to be stuck in traffic
Mhm.
for not just several minutes, but maybe an hour,
Oh, well,
simply because it's just too many people, versus when I moved here with my family, we moved to Nederland, Texas, where traffic wasn't really much of a thing, at least not in comparison. It was a small city, you know, of just, I think, several thousand people versus a city of a million something people. That's going to make a difference.
right. And here I complain about our traffic problem, and you're like, "Psst, this is nothing." Yeah. Okay. So did you go to 8 years old? You were in school how many years?
So I was in school probably up until second grade.
Second grade.
Right.
And what's that like? Any different than
I mean, I just had a lot more classmates. I mean, our classes were a lot larger.
yeah,
There were at least 40, 50 kids in a class. From my memory serves me
one
correctly.
teacher?
For per teacher, yes.
Whoa. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. And was there uh what's the emphasis on learning as much as, or is it because here we kind of feel in that early era, it's kind of like just to get the cognitive skills down. What was it like there? Was there just like what would be second grade there would be fifth grade here kind of thing?
I wouldn't put it that way. It was more about I was still learning academic skills. That I don't think there was a whole lot of social skills being involved. I mean, I had all of the subjects, you know, we had art classes, we had dance classes, we had music classes, we had all of that.
Right.
But I don't think there was this much emphasis on building social skills as opposed to when I got to America in third grade, there was a lot more emphasis on building social skills. But now in elementary schools these days, we don't see much of that anymore. We're still seeing that we're teaching kids how to build more academic skills. They're not learning how to interact with each other.
Right.
So I'm seeing some of the same stuff in schools that I
Right.
saw when I was growing up.
Oh wow. Brothers and sisters?
Just one,
Just one?
just one older sister. Yeah.
The older sister. Oh, so
Mhm.
you're the younger one.
Yes.
Okay. Did you get
I'm the baby of the
did you
family.
get any yeah, I was gonna ask, did you get any special privileges?
If you ask my sister, she thinks I always got special privileges. Being the youngest one,
But since
you're
we're
you're
not
kind of babied if you're
right,
the youngest kid,
right,
and I don't think that's unusual.
right. But
You
we're
know,
not talking to her, we're talking to you. So what do you
right?
think? Do you think you were spoiled?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I was pretty spoiled growing up.
Okay. Were you more a dad spoiled or mom spoiled or both spoiled?
I think both kind of spoiled
Oh,
me.
look, you were. Okay. All right. More no, but it's one or the other, but you got okay, both of them. Okay. So what do you consider your hometown then?
I mean, I spent most of my time in the Beaumont Port Arthur area. That's
Okay.
where my parents live in Port Arthur, but I went to Nederland ISD schools.
Okay.
Um, so I consider that. So that's my hometown. That's where I've grown up. That's where I've lived. But I'm establishing roots in Wiley
Right.
because my husband and I have bought a house here.
Right.
So, you know, uh, this is practically going to become my hometown.
Right.
Before we moved to Wiley, I was working at Isle, Texas, and I used to have an apartment in Dallas for about, let's say, how long was that there for? Say about 5 years,
Hmm.
and then we moved to Garland for about 2 years. And then my husband got sick of the apartment life.
Right.
So he's like, yeah, we're getting out of here. We're going to go look for a house. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and this was, I think, in 2024.
Okay.
I think we started looking in like February.
Right.
And by March, we had cycled through at least 20 homes.
Yeah.
No, when I was looking for homes, I told my husband, we're not looking for a starter home. And he
Right.
agreed with that.
Right. Okay.
We're looking for a home where we're going to be there pretty much the rest of our lives. And I don't think a lot of people do
Right.
home shopping
Yeah.
that
That's smart
anymore.
though. Yeah.
Um, but we decided to approach it that way
Right.
because we didn't want to have to stay in a home for 10 years and then think, oh, let's sell this home.
Yeah.
What would be the point of that?
Right. Right. All right. So when you first what was it like? What was your first thoughts when you first moved from an entirely different, I mean, country, and I mean way up to here? And when I say way, I meant like the distance wise. I mean, it's that's like Australia almost. I mean, for what? How many hours flight is that actually?
19.
Okay.
About 19 or 20 hours.
Or as you would say, 2 hours in Mumbai traffic, 19 hours.
Yeah, let's just put it that way.
Okay. So what was it like? What was your first impressions when you first moved here?
I was stunned by how friendly people were.
Oh yeah.
The fact that people would just come up to you and talk to you.
Yeah.
That was very strange to me because when I was growing up, I would never dream of going up to a stranger and approaching them. That's just
Right.
not something we did.
Right.
Uh, but the very fact that somebody would come up to you and strike a conversation and just smile at you, I would think, hey, do we know each other?
Is there something I'm forgetting already? Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But then, eventually I learned that that's just the way Texans are.
Right.
People just like to be friendly and talk to you
About anything.
about anything.
Not just the weather, but anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so your mom and your dad, your older sister, and the spoiled one, you flew all the way from India here. Why?
Well, my parents were just looking for more opportunities for their daughters. They wanted us to have access to a high quality education, to have better job opportunities. And I'd say they made the best decision for us at the time
Right.
because it's all coming into fruition, you know.
But talk about guts. I mean, seriously, to pick up from one whole culture and language and everything. I mean, everything, and then come here. Now, was your mom and dad fluent in English for
Both
the
my,
country?
my, my mom was, they did study English in school, and they did send me to an English speaking school when we
Okay.
did live there.
Right.
But eventually, my dad realized that in order for him to have the opportunities that he wanted, like he has his own business. He wanted, obviously he wanted to own his own home. He wanted to have more of that freedom, not just for himself, but for us. He realized that immigrating was the best solution. And yes, it's very difficult to just leave what you know, everything that you know, the culture that you know, and to just go to a foreign land. Like my parents, they are products of the education system in India. That's all they know, you know. But my sister and I, we are products of the American education system. So my parents, they left everything just to be raising American kids.
Right.
If you really think about it,
Yeah.
that's how it
Yeah.
worked out.
Yeah. True. I mean, I was intimidated moving from Wisconsin to Texas.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, even though it's different, but I'm just impressed by that actually, and the fortitude your dad and your mom must have to do that is amazing to me. Yeah, that's amazing. So they lived here, they moved here, and you're 8 years oldish about that time, and now you have a whole new school. That had to be a little scary too, I would imagine. Like, okay, this is way scary to me. But was it?
It was because, I didn't know who these kids were.
Right.
You didn't know who to trust. You try to put your trust in the right people.
Right.
And I mean, it was a rough process
Right.
because when I first got here, I was struggling academically, trying to get my feet, just trying to get my routine set, trying to keep up academically. And English is not being my first language.
Right.
That obviously added some challenges.
Right.
And so, third grade, yes, we had to spend some time in summer school,
Right.
but I learned something. I learned, oh, I just need extra practice with reading and math. And fourth grade, things got a little bit better, you know. And after fourth grade, I exited the ESL program. And in fifth grade, it was the English as second language program. And then in fifth grade, I started making the honor roll. So it was.
Look at you. Look at you. Honor roll. Okay. I don't even know how to spell honor roll. I told you how close I got to it, but great you did. Yes.
But it was a process. And at the time, I didn't realize that things would take time. There were times where I was like, I can't do this, you know, but everything was a process. Everything needed time. We need to practice it. And that's exactly what it was. It was a growing pain. It was the learning curve that had to happen.
Right. When you say, okay, so when you said, I can't do this, what was your strength or who did you go to?
Um, I went to my family.
Okay.
You know, those are the first people you usually go to.
Your mom or your dad, or was there?
Just my mom and my sister. My dad worked a lot when he
Right.
came here, so I usually saw him at night. My mom worked here and there, so I saw her more growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, my dad, after working for several, I'd say, convenience store jobs,
Mm-hmm.
I think it took him until maybe my high school year until he probably the end of my high school years until he had his own business.
Oh, nice.
You know, so everything has been a process all.
Right.
You
Hard
know,
work, but worth it.
yes.
Nice. Okay. Well, since we're talking tell me a little bit about your parents. How they meet. That whole. Do you know any of the stories?
I mean, I don't know too much
Okay.
about their story.
All right.
I just know that they were arranged
Oh,
to
okay.
be married.
All
And,
right.
my parents married, I think, in 1985, May of 1985. And then I think in 1989, my sister was born.
Okay.
And then 2 years later, 1991, I was born.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
December.
Okay.
I'm a December baby.
Okay.
So my
Yeah.
husband's also a December baby.
Oh,
He is December 18th.
okay.
And I'm December 20th. So every year we celebrate our birthday on the 19th.
19th. There you go. Get it over with.
Get
Just
it-
one day. Yeah, I like it. That's pretty cool.
It is.
And but do you get Christmas presents later on, or do you just like no?
Sometimes
Or
the
just
birthday and the Christmas presents are combo
merge?
presents.
Yeah, that's what I like. Yes.
And you know what? That doesn't hurt my feelings.
There you go. Okay, I like that. Cool. Okay, so what? That I have. What about they've been very happy with an arranged marriage, and I know that sounds weird, but I'm envious of it in a certain way. They had an arranged marriage. What does that actually entail? I mean, can you tell me a little bit about that?
I mean, I guess my dad's dad, met my mom's dad, and they just talked and introduced each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty much the story I got.
Right. Okay. And then, hey,
like I said, I don't know too many details
on
about
Tuesday,
it.
be sure you're here. That's how we're going to have our marriage and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Well, I mean, it was more of I imagine it was more gradual than that.
Right.
They just, talked and decided to introduce my mom and dad to each other, and then from there they went
That's
on
kind
their
of cool.
business. Yeah.
Mom and dad matchmaker. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. Okay. Um, Tell us about your schooling then. You said you were a class, a teacher, a subject that opened your eyes. What was something like that you really said, I like this?
I would say, see, it wasn't one particular subject. See, I tended to at least like a lot of the subjects. I generally loved school after a period of time when that adjustment period was over.
Right, right.
I generally loved being in school, and I don't think I had a particular subject that really opened my eyes.
Right.
It was just, hey, I learned something from this class. I think it would probably have to be, if I really have to pick, it would have to be keyboarding. We had keyboarding classes when I was in school.
Okay.
And I think in my fifth grade year, the very first elective I had was keyboarding. I was like, oh my goodness, I am, you're just trying to practice your manual dexterity skills, all of that. And I was like, oh man, this is challenging. But I think I started learning to type very well in 7th grade, because in 7th grade I also took another keyboarding class, and that's when I think my typing skills really grew. Mm-hmm. So I would say keyboarding was one of them. And the other class I really liked was, I was part of, it was not really a class, but it was like an extracurricular activity. Okay. I was part of something called paper staff. We were the newspaper staff first in my middle school.
Yeah.
Like in seventh grade, I was a reporter, but in eighth grade, I got to be an editor of the newspaper staff at my school. So I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah, right.
In middle school.
Nice.
It was fun.
Oh, okay. Oh, see, when I was going to school back with Abraham Lincoln, we had typewriting class. And I remember that was a big deal. And I thought, why would I ever need this? But evidently I do need it. So it happens all the time with the PCs. What was the toughest part of school?
The toughest part of school? In middle school?
Middle school and high school.
I would say with middle school, it's always navigating the social dynamics.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because you're trying to find out where you fit in. And that's every teen's challenge, you know. And high school, it was more trying to figure out, okay, where do I go from here? You know, I like all these classes. What do I really want to do with my life?
Right.
You know, and then I thought, oh, okay, I was going to, you know, maybe be a linguist of some sort, because one of my favorite classes was Spanish, and I love learning languages, still do to this day.
How many languages you?
4.
4.
Yes.
All right. What are they?
English, Spanish, Hindi, and Chinese. I was a Chinese teacher for 6 years at my old charter school.
Now, isn't Chinese one of the tougher? That's what I was always told, that it was one of the tougher languages to learn.
Yes. It's the hardest language to learn.
And you nailed it.
As best as I could, yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Is there another language you want to learn yet that you haven't? Or you're saying now 4 is good enough?
Right now, it's computer languages.
Okay.
Java, Python.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm going from human languages to computer languages.
Also. Wow. Wow, Chinese. That's impressive. Did you date in high school? Did you have like a boyfriend crush or something like that in high school or middle school?
I did in high school. I think my junior year I dated this guy. His name was Nathan.
Nathan.
And, you know, we were both very intellectual. We loved to read. And, you know, we just had a lot in common. So we dated, and senior year we went to prom together. But, you know, after I left for college to go to Trinity, and he decided to stay back in Nederland and go to Lamar, you know, we just kind of drifted apart.
Right.
Had different priorities.
Right. And why did you pick Trinity?
I picked it because it was a small college. You know, I picked it because it was really dedicated to undergraduate teaching. See, when people choose colleges, they usually go to these to A&M, UT, and all these state colleges. And while those are fine schools, they, you know, they're not necessarily dedicated to undergraduate teaching the same way Trinity was.
Right.
And that's what I was looking for in my education, and I didn't go wrong with it, for sure.
Right. And Trinity is located where?
In San Antonio.
San Antonio. And I'm going to guess you probably got an academic scholarship.
I did.
What? That was so... I couldn't believe I guessed that one right. Okay. Okay. So what was college life like then?
I would say it was the very first time, you know, I was experiencing freedom. You know, in high school, your life is very much structured, but it was the first time I was structuring my own life.
Right.
You know, and academically, I handled things very well, you know, and it was now, okay, now I need to go find a part-time job. Now I need to figure out, okay, which extracurriculars I want to spend my time with, and what interests me the most when it comes to these extracurriculars. Why am I choosing the major I'm choosing? You know, it was just a time for reflection.
And what did interest you, and why? What you just named it, but what did interest you?
Languages, you know, languages and politics. So I ended up majoring in Chinese and political science, you know.
Yeah. And
later on, junior year, I decided that I was going to go into teaching.
Okay.
You know, so I said, okay, I'm going to do some AmeriCorps program for 2 years, see if I really like teaching. And
what's AmeriCorps program?
It's basically, you know what Peace Corps is, right? So AmeriCorps is like this program where you do community service, and you get a stipend, and then you get like a scholarship for each year that you do the program.
Right.
And that helped me pay for my master's degree. Oh, okay. So I did that after college, and I basically was with this nonprofit organization called Citizen Schools, and we basically provided like an expanded learning time for underserved communities. I was working in Houston at the time, and we basically did provided things like they would apprenticeships for students. They would learn from volunteers in the community. They may learn things like robotics or video game design, or they might even do like some sort of science lab with the volunteers, and we kind of supervised that. We also provided things like academic programming where, you know, if the kids were behind in reading, we provided them extra help in reading or math. And that was basically what we were doing with the middle school.
What made you want to teach?
Huh?
What made you want to teach?
What made me want to teach was I personally love learning. And for me to share that joy with the students and to see the student finally understand what I'm teaching, and that's what drove me to teach, to make that positive impact.
That moment it clicked in
the
your
moment
mind.
that it finally all clicks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a teacher that actually for you made that click?
I had two teachers,
okay,
in my high school career. In my high school, when I was telling you, the biggest challenge I had in middle and high school was navigating those social dynamics, right? In my middle and high school, there were certain students that were favorites of the teachers, and it was usually the cheerleaders, the football players.
Right.
They were the types of students that got the most attention.
Right.
But for these two teachers, they paid attention to students like me who weren't necessarily into football,
right,
or sports or anything,
right,
but we just took our studies very seriously.
Right.
So I was somebody to those teachers, And so it was my AP US history teacher, Ms. Streetman, and then my Spanish teacher, Coach Lopez.
Yeah.
And I felt like they really noticed me.
Right. You say Coach Lopez?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. So when you say coach in sports, what sport did he?
He coached tennis.
Tennis, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you ever in any activities in that area, like the tennis?
I was not a sports person.
Okay.
I tried to do cross country, but then I realized I just couldn't keep up with the commitment.
Plus the running part would kind of throw us off. Yeah, I would imagine that would be a whole lot. Okay, so eventually you went to Trinity, and then from Trinity you graduated 4 years?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you were going to be a show off and say 2, but probably okay, so 4 years.
I took 4 years.
Okay, good. Good for you. And so then you decided you went to that Corps. AmeriCorps for 2 years.
2 years.
And now you said, I want to go for my master's.
Yes.
And first of all, why? And second of all, why did you choose SMU?
Well, I chose SMU because, one, I was going to move to Dallas-Fort Worth anyway.
Okay.
And SMU had a really good reputation.
Right.
And so I decided SMU because the program that I was going to get certified in teaching, had not just the required classes, but they gave you a lot of experience in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it would be worth it,
right,
to give that program a try.
And why were you going to choose? Why did you want to move to Dallas anyway?
There was a couple times I visited Dallas and I'd just fallen in love with the city.
Right.
And I thought, this is where I think I'm going to build my roots,
Right.
I loved how, I think Dallas is better laid out than Houston is.
Right.
In a lot of ways.
Right.
And so I thought, this is the place for me to be.
Right. And did you miss, mom and dad have any issue with that? Or they're like, yeah, go, spread your wings?
They eventually learned to let go.
Okay.
But they had a hard time with it.
Especially because you were the smaller one.
Because I was the youngest one.
Right.
And for them, because they were so used to me being around.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I wasn't going to be around as often, that was a tough transition for them,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. And was it for you?
For me, I was just ready to spread my wings.
Yeah. Were you scared at all to come to Dallas? Did you come by yourself, or did you have a roommate or somebody?
I came by myself.
Okay.
I did have a roommate in Houston, but I kind of wanted to learn to live without a roommate and by myself.
And what was that like?
And that was very, and that was different, because with a roommate, you're with somebody, You can always say, hey, I'm going to go do this. Can you watch over this part of the apartment?
Right.
So a lot of it was pure self-reliance.
Right. But also, you're in charge of your own destiny there.
Right.
And you don't have that other person messing things up on your, like if you're a clean freak and they're not, it gets a little, like, why is it always got to be like this?
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. All right. So eventually, I don't know when, so we'll get to that part, but how did you meet your husband?
So we met in the SMU graduate program.
Okay.
And it was, he was very reserved. He didn't seem to want to interact with many of our classmates.
Mm-hmm.
So getting him to open up was a bit of a challenge.
Right.
But he eventually realized, though, that he's going to have to form friendships with others,
Right.
And so he gave me a chance.
Right. But what about him attracted you?
Well, when I got to know him, I learned that he also loved learning languages. He also loved traveling.
Okay.
And trying different things. And I said, this is my kind of person.
Yeah. I like this.
And the very fact that he loved Indian cooking.
Oh, okay.
So that pretty much put him on the top of the list.
Yeah. Everybody else file with down look. Okay.
Yes.
What was the first date? Do you remember?
Gosh, this was, I think, in July, like late July of 2016. And, it was me.
Remember. If you remember the date, you do remember. Okay.
I do remember.
Okay.
It was me, one other classmate we went out with, and Jason. And we went to this place called Yama's in Plano. It was a Taiwanese, no, it's a Japanese and Chinese restaurant. It has both cuisines.
Right.
And, from there, we just all hit it off. We
Right.
were, that whole night we were laughing and just having a good time.
Right. And you start seeing little stars pull up a little bit. Like,
yes.
The romantic cue music in the background. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I like it. What was it like dating then?
I mean, dating, there was lots of ups and downs, lots of navigating, different possibilities in the future.
Right.
But also enjoying the moment with each other.
Right. Nice. And so after a while you're dating and you started thinking, might be some possibilities here. When did you finally decide that, let's make this a possibility?
I mean, we dated for about 5 or 6 years.
Right.
And then Jason proposed in 2023.
Made sure of it then.
Yes.
And you said,
and I said yes,
right away.
Because he's been my best friend.
Okay, but tell me, I mean, even I can remember it. I'm old. What was the proposal like?
Oh, I remember this.
There we go.
So, May of 2023. This was May of 2022 when he proposed. Okay. We got married in 2023.
Okay.
And so we were just going to this restaurant. We went to this restaurant called Tricky Fish in Richardson. It's on State City Line, I think, if you know that area. And we both love seafood. And Tricky Fish has some great Cajun seafood, gumbo. And so he basically tricked the waitress into hiding the ring.
In the gumbo?
Not in the gumbo.
Oh, good.
Not in the gumbo.
Okay.
But he basically tricked the waitress into... he didn't hide the ring. I mean, he didn't trick her into hiding the ring. What he did is that he gave her this note. And she passed the note to me. And the note said, will you marry me? Please say yes.
Right.
It was the cutest note ever.
Right.
And then he showed me the ring.
Because I thought maybe the waitress said that.
No.
That'd be weird. Then he showed you the ring.
Then he showed me the ring. Did he get down on the knee? Here's the ring.
Okay. Did he get down on the knee?
Yes, he did that too. It was so cute.
So
but he did it so inconspicuously, like I wasn't even going to notice, and I didn't notice.
Right. Oh, that's nice. Okay. So now we're going to get married, and it's all exciting for you, I'd imagine.
Yes.
So, right? And so you're getting married and excitement, and now what?
And so we basically planned our own wedding.
Nice. Okay.
There was no wedding planner involved.
Nice, even better.
And we basically planned everything from, the start to finish, the wedding to the honeymoon. We paid for it all. We planned it all.
The songs, everything.
The songs, everything.
Welcome, okay.
And wedding planning really taught me something very important about our relationship.
All right.
Which is we learned to depend on each other. And that was the real test. And it wasn't the whole, it wasn't even the whole wedding itself. The real test was how did we communicate that whole time.
Right.
And wedding planning can do one of the following things to couples. It'll either bring them together or it'll tear them apart. And there was a lot of moments in the wedding planning that would have torn apart a couple that wasn't strong to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But we managed to resolve any and all issues together. And that's when I knew this is going to be a solid marriage.
Right. Nice. Do you have a favorite story about your early marriage?
Do I have a favorite story? Yes.
Okay.
I don't know I don't know that I'd call it a favorite story,
okay.
but I have many good stories. I have many good stories. I would say our honeymoon.
Okay.
We honeymooned in Iceland and Greenland.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yes.
All right.
So, while we were planning the honeymoon, we found this cruise through Norwegian Cruise Line.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 14-day cruise.
Okay.
And, Jason, being a veteran, got a lot of discounts.
Right.
And we flew over to Reykjavik in Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were transferred to our port of call. And we went through different cities in Iceland. The first one we weren't able to go to because of the weather.
Right.
But we went to Akureyri, and we actually got to see the mud pits, the waterfalls, and all the scenery there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next city we went to, we actually got to see a fisher's village and got to try different seafood.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun.
Right.
In Iceland. So, and then after that trip, we were going to go to Greenland. And in Greenland, we saw 2 different villages, and then we saw the capital city.
Okay.
And we actually got to see the difference between how people in the capital city of Nuuk live versus somewhere in Nanutarlik.
Right.
Where it's more rural.
Right. Seafood.
I probably had it in Nuuk.
Okay. I was going to say, I noticed that food seemed to have a theme in the relationship here, which I don't blame it. That's pretty cool. Yes. So most people, when they get married and they think, oh, we're going to plan our honeymoon, never have I ever heard people going, we're going to go way north to Iceland. And I think that's way cool, Iceland and Greenland. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So, that's fascinating. Okay. So we went on this honeymoon and we're together, but you had other stories you told me.
Mm-hmm. And, after we came back from our honeymoon, we got back into the little apartment. We're in Garland. Mm-hmm. And, every Saturday was date night for us, and we always tried different things. Mm-hmm. And so I think was some of my favorite stories. We always went to different places to go hang out and have fun.
Nice.
Because we love to try new things.
Right.
So.
Which leads into my next. So what are some of your thoughts on love and marriage then?
I would say marry your best friend.
Okay. Right.
Marry your best friend. And what I mean by that is if you found somebody that's very compatible with your values, but somebody who is different enough to bring you back down to earth.
Right. So do you feel like you need to be best friends before you get married, or you're going to be best friends after you're married?
Well, a bit of both.
Okay. All right.
I say both because I feel that one of the things I've learned about dating, love, and marriage is you will instinctively know who has your back. Mm-hmm. There were some rough times between graduating from SMU and between being a student at SMU and graduating. And if there was one person I could call, it was Jason. I always called him. He had my back through and through. When I was a student and after I graduated and to this day. You know, we have been through some very rough times as a couple. You know, when he was in the State Guard, this is when we were engaged, he actually went to a border mission for about 2 months. So I had to get used to being apart from him for 2 months, seeing that deployment. So that was one example of a pretty stressful time in our relationship. And it's always been about how we handle stress as a couple.
Right.
Did we handle the stress without taking it out on each other? And I would say the answer to that is yes, we handled it very well. But a lot of people don't do that. You know. And so if you can find the person that you know that you're gonna call at 1 o'clock in the morning and you know they're gonna answer, that's the kind of person you gotta marry.
I believe it. I've often said this story before, but with my wife, I feel like I could be in a battle and rest, and she'll say, "I got your back. You rest. I'll watch over everything while you do that." You know, I always imagine these 2 nights, and I'm like that, and she's always been like that with me. So that's really good. What's one of your proudest moments and accomplishments? And you sound like you might have a list of accomplishments. So, what are some of the proudest ones you have?
Gosh, I don't know where to start.
I can imagine so.
You know, I would say my proudest one, I will say, is having met a person like Jason.
Okay.
And having married a person like Jason. And I say this because, you know, having him in my corner has made me feel that I could take anything on.
Right.
He's always supported everything I've done.
Right.
And so for me, I think it's finding those relationships. My other proudest moment is, you know, having a set of girlfriends that I could always call and lean on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd always struggled with female friendships, so being able to at least find a few that I could rely on it's been one of my strongest moments.
And why is that? Because I know some other people feel the same way, but why is that you struggle with?
I mean, I've struggled with it because growing up, I felt like I could not relate to the females around me.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started opening up and meeting others, I realized that not everybody is as high maintenance as the women I grew up around.
Right, right.
When it kind of comes to friendship. So I'm very proud of that because I stepped out of my comfort zone there.
Mm-hmm.
So see, some of my proudest moments have always been about relationships and personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much about getting master teacher or, you know, having that increase in salary. It's always been, how did I change as a person? And, you know, when I started to trust others, you know, when I started to, you know, allow others to come into my circle, that's when I think some of the biggest growth happened.
And how did you do that?
You know,
how did you trust and let others?
Sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith.
Right. And were you ever burned?
You know, I will say maybe a handful of times.
Right. But it was worth it
But it's worth it to keep going.
Thanks.
Because if I keep staying in my if I keep holding on to a limited, fixed mindset, then my destiny is already determined at that point. But if I keep pushing myself to rise to different challenges, you know, maybe challenge a lot of the beliefs I have, then things can change for the better.
What are some of the challenges you're thinking of now? I mean, what are some of the challenges you have now? Or some challenges you want to take on?
Mm-hmm.
18 more languages or something?
No. I guess one of the challenges I really want to take on is, you know, I obviously don't want to teach forever.
Right.
You know, so I would like to, because I'm working on my bachelor's of computer science right now, looking to graduate in the next year or so. Uh, I would like to step into a new career field.
Okay.
Something completely different from teaching. I mean, the thing is, I don't want to feel like I'm ever stuck
Right.
doing one thing over and over and over again
Being pigeonholed.
and being pigeonholed.
Okay.
I want to be able to just experience something new. I always want to learn something new.
Right. That learning. Is that inherent, or did you learn? Was that something? I mean, how do you always want to learn? There's not a whole lot of people I know that always want to learn something new. Why is that? Why you're like that in a good way? I mean, that's a compliment.
Well, because I don't ever want to be bored.
Okay.
Some people are okay with doing one thing over and over and over and over again,
Okay.
and they're fine with that.
Right.
The routine is what keeps them going. And yes, to some extent, I also like my routines.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm also the kind of person that likes puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
That likes challenges. I live for those things. And when you don't have challenges, life stops being interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, are you ever going to retire?
Yes, I do want to eventually retire.
And where's the challenge in that?
I mean, I'm still going to continue reading.
Okay.
Still continue making art. I love to paint.
Ah.
Um, and keep my mind active.
Right. What kind of books do you like to read?
Um, Mostly fiction. I mean, things like historical fiction.
Okay.
Fiction that is based on, you know, World War II, Cold War. Um, Sometimes I like to read, political commentaries.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on what I'm feeling.
Right. Whatever it is, but then you devour it, go to the next one.
And then I move on to the next book.
How many books do you think you read in a year?
mm,
And this is a real guess because I love to read too, but I couldn't tell you how many books I read in a year.
right, same. I mean, probably about 6 or 7. I don't read that many books a year
Right.
because I'm trying to balance everything out right
And
now.
you got your studies and everything.
Right.
Right. Um, what was a significant? Okay, so then what would be a significant turning point in your personal life?
Um, are you saying what has been a significant turning point so
Sure.
far, or
Yeah.
or what would be?
A and B. Let's go
Okay.
with C.
All right.
All the above.
I'd say the biggest turning point is I've started to learn to trust myself, you know, and not always second guess my decisions. If I'm going to do something, I get it done.
Right.
Uh, and B, what would be another turning point? I would say another turning point would be, you know, I don't know how to answer that question. I really don't know how to answer that question because I already know one turning point has happened. I'm not sure I can predict the other one yet.
Right. Well, where do you see yourself when you? Where do you see yourself when you're 67 years old? I'll put it that way. Hopefully alive, but where do you see yourself?
Traveling.
Traveling?
I just want to travel.
Where would you like to travel that you haven't been to yet?
I would like to go to Norway. I would like to go to Australia.
Okay, we're finally going south because we keep going north. Norway, Sweden.
Yes,
Okay.
I would like to go to, um, what is it, Argentina?
Mm-hmm.
It's just I
Is it
don't I
because
don't really have like an entire bucket list yet, but I'm just kind of spitballing countries where I haven't
Right.
been and would like to go and
Right.
see.
And is there something about them? Have you a book, something you've read it, or a movie that you said, that sounds interesting?
It's just a sense of wonder, honestly.
Okay. Sense of wonder.
You know,
Nice. Okay. Very good. What's a quality you admire most in a person?
I would say they're I would say I don't know. There's so many qualities that I could like in a person. For me, it's their ability to have this calmness about them, no matter what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can be pretty frazzled. That happens, but the types of people I admire are people that just stay calm no matter what the situation. I don't know how they do that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Gotcha. Um, what do you like most about yourself?
Um, that I have an adventure spirit.
Oh, I imagine so. Yeah.
That, you know, there's a wanderlust. I want to go places. I want to learn new things, and that's something I love about myself,
Right.
you know? And so, yeah.
Is there something? Okay, there's something about you that people that would meet you or pass you in the street wouldn't know about you. What would that be
Mm,
outside of?
outside of this,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
They would have to come and talk to me.
Got it. Okay. You said you like to do puzzles.
Oh, yes.
Okay. What
Puzzles are fine.
puzzles? Certain kind of puzzles? Just any puzzle?
Yeah, any kind of puzzle, really.
The real hard ones, or the ones that like have a border and that kind of stuff, and they say, oh, because I've seen people that do puzzles that are like almost all white pieces, and I'm like, how do you do that?
Mhm.
Somehow I got a feeling that would be interesting to you to do that one.
Yeah.
Yes, where I would be like 3 to 6 years. I figure I could get it done in 2 years, but I could get
Right.
that done. But wow, okay, that's impressive. Is,
Mhm.
is there a certain we had said a book genre? Is there certain do you like movies and TV and that kind of stuff too, or do
Oh,
you?
yeah, I
Okay.
do. And for TV, my husband and I, we just watch a lot of Indian TV shows,
Hmm.
or, I mean, I will say I'm not really impressed with what Hollywood's pumping out these days, so we just don't even bother with
Just a
that,
rerun of something else
you know.
previous, yeah.
Or, we'll watch some Korean shows. I mean, or we'll just watch old shows, like old horror movies, like The Prince of Darkness.
Okay,
That's a really good horror film.
right.
Um, or, What Lies Beneath. We'll just watch older horror films. Like we kind of just go back and forth.
Right. You're older, my older are two different things. I
Hmm.
will say what your older is probably what came out just, you know, me. Okay. When you say Korean, so are they actually in Korean or do they have subtitles?
They have subtitles, but
Oh God, because I thought, man, if you learned it that fast,
no,
that's
no, 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 no,
that's not
no.
one of the languages that you
I mean, I would like to learn it eventually, but
somehow I got a feeling you will learn it, but okay. So the languages again were Hindi, English, Spanish,
Chinese.
Chinese.
Mhm.
Is there what do you have on your bucket list? I know you couldn't think of, and it's kind of tough, but what would be on your bucket list just for you?
Mm, I would say, oh God, that's difficult. There's just so much on my bucket list right now,
It's great.
and I don't know where to pick. I don't know where to start. Like this past summer, my husband and I we zip lined and parasailed in South Padre. So maybe some more thrill seeking.
Okay, that's good.
Um, Maybe we can go ziplining in another country. I don't know.
Right. But you always feel that your bucket list will be full.
No, and that's the
And
fun of it.
is it?
Hmm.
And tell me why.
Because
And,
there's always something to explore, you know. And if there is nothing to explore, if the bucket list is full, then how? Then there's no point in having that bucket list
right.
anymore.
The reason I ask that question is for me, I'm a list guy, and
Hmm.
I make lists, and I want to accomplish lists. I mean, I cannot sleep until that list is done. But I make a list of everything from my top 200 songs of all time to my top 15 movies of all time, pathetically, but they are actually lists in order on my Spotify list. But I also made a bucket list of things I wanted to do, and I started crossing them off. And then one day, my wife and I, we were with some friends in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I
Hmm.
said, the only thing I have on my bucket list now is I want to see a male moose in the wild. And then the friend said, "Really? That's all you got left?" And I got really like, "Wow, that is it." What do you do after you cross off your bucket list? And I started going, I need to put more on my bucket list because I don't want to give up learning or putting things up. So that's why I ask if the bucket list will it continue on for you or not. That's where I was headed. So what do you think?
It'll continue on for as long as I can keep it,
There you go. Okay. Right.
and life is very unpredictable, you
True.
know,
Right.
and so you have to you don't know when that bucket list is going to end, so you just keep adding things to it,
Right.
you know? And I don't expect all of it to get done, but I do want to make sure I at least try some of the things on it.
Right. Very good. Is there someone now or in the past, like me, they could be dead or alive, that you would like to sit down and talk with? And not just one. It could be many if you want to.
Mm-hmm. That's dead or alive that I'd like to talk to and meet. I've never thought about this question.
Yay for me.
Yay for you.
One. Got one over. Yes.
Yeah. um, I mean, it could be anybody, right?
Anybody.
That I'd like to meet, dead or alive.
And sit down and talk with. Let's just say over seafood.
Hmm. Gosh, that's hard.
I know.
There's a lot of people I'd like to meet and talk to.
I'll help you out with a couple of mine. How's
Okay.
that?
All right.
John Wayne. I love
Okay.
John Wayne. Grew up in John Wayne movies. My middle name is Wayne.
Mhm.
Supposedly, we'll
Mhm.
see. I was conceived during a John Wayne movie. That's why my middle name is Wayne. I doubt that's true.
Mhm.
But I would like to sit down and talk to him about him growing up. I would love to do that. Mommy Knight's another one of mine. Ted Williams is another one of mine.
Mhm.
So mine kind of is varied all over the place. Mostly probably because of autobiography they read, Connie Hawkins and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
That's where mine lies too. But I would just like to sit down and go, tell me about you. I've heard, but what about you?
Mhm.
And that would be great.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, that's helpful. I guess
volleyball.
for me, it would be the comedian George Carlin.
Okay.
I'd like to sit down and talk to him about
All
what
right.
inspired him to be a comedian.
Okay.
He's funny.
Yeah.
I've watched some of his old sketches, and it's
Right.
just been, he just knocks it out of the park.
Right. Okay. And he does have a very good wit.
Yes, he
I mean,
does.
and his mind is sharp as, but he's no
He's
longer
very
with us, of
sharp.
course.
He's
But yeah.
just, like, I mean, if there's one thing he said about, there's one joke about bipartisanship. He said, I think, he said it's like, I'm just going to paraphrase it. Um, he said something about it being like too good to be true or a bigger Ponzi scheme coming your way.
That does sound like something he would do.
Something that he would say.
Yes. Yes.
And so, I mean, yes, a lot of his humor was very cynical,
Right.
but at the same time, it got you to kind of wake up and smell the coffee.
Right.
And that's why George Carlin is the person I would go talk to.
Nice. Okay. That's cool. Where would you like to see yourself or you be 20 years from now?
20 years from now. Um,
Professionally, socially, anything you want to feel like. Where do you
socially,
see yourself 20 years from now?
socially, I would like to host more get-togethers in my house. I notice I haven't been doing a lot of that.
Mhm.
Professionally, I like to see myself out of teaching
Okay.
and in another career in the
Right.
tech field
Right.
or even in the sales field.
Okay.
And personally, Jason and I were still married. We're hosting barbecues at our house.
Right.
Um, we have our own garden. We've
Okay.
already started a garden,
There you go.
a
Okay.
vegetable garden,
Yeah.
and we've got a lot of okras and bell peppers and chilies
All
coming.
right. All right.
So we want to add more vegetables to our repertoire.
Right.
Um, Also personally, adding more recipes because I love to cook,
Okay.
and so it's one of those things where, I always hold on to those goals because that's what kind of keeps me going by the day.
So what motivates you?
I think what motivates me is I know where I'm going.
Nice.
I know where I'm going, and I always keep it in the back of my head. Each day is a step closer to where I need to be. And so I don't waste my time, and I try not to hold on to negativity
Mhm.
because if I do, then that just drags me. I always say every day is a new day, every day is a fresh start, and every day is one step closer to where I need to go. So I try to hold on to those things.
Nice. One thing I like about, and the reason we started this channel was to learn from people. I love learning from people, and everybody, no matter what, has had extraordinary journeys or philosophies in their lives. And I think you being of a younger persuasion compared to moi, you could teach and can teach so many people with your outlook, including someone my age or older. We don't have to. And one thing somebody just mentioned the other day, just because we're older doesn't mean we have to give up. Let's get going. We still have a lot to do. And I think what you just said right there is very inspiring to a lot of different people. And I think it's great. And I hope throughout this whole channel, people can learn from other people and say, I just learned something from her, or I learned something from him, or there's a takeaway there. It doesn't always have to be funny. It doesn't always have to be, but as long as it's point, and it sounds like you've had lots of great attitudes in life, a lot of great attitudes in what you want to do, and you sound very secure. And I mean that in a very complimentary way of trying to, and you may not feel that way, but it comes across this way. And I'm very impressed by the person you are.
Thank you.
And I'm really impressed by the person
Thank you.
you want to be. And I hope other people see that as well. So one of the last questions I always like to ask people about this is when 80 years from now, 90 years from now, when you are gone, what would you like your epitaph to be on your gravestone?
Oh God, I didn't even think that far ahead.
I know.
I would say you I didn't even think about this.
It's all right. Of course,
It would be more of a quote.
It would be written in 4 different languages. I know that for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
It would be more of a quote rather than that I want my descendants and others to remember me by. And that would be live each day learning something new.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Very good. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but y'all is my Oklahoma accent coming out, but very impressed here. And I'm so glad you're with me and talk to us. Can you give me your name one more time?
Nivadita.
Nevadita.
Yes.
Nevadita. I'll get it right eventually. And I appreciate you here. If you do appreciate this episode, please like and subscribe and tell a friend and make comments about it. Wasn't it impressive to learn? And we'll see you next time on My Dash Story.